Well, this is Laura Ingram Angle. This concerns Obama and his administration, the Bidens, and Ukraine.
Maybe he's getting a little dizzy. I don't know.
He also fabricated what was in that transcript when he read it into the record because he knew that he didn't have the facts. Here's what's hurting the Democrats badly. They're using the Senate trial as a fishing expedition. They know they don't have the abundance of facts and evidence they need, so they're just putting it out there like, well, maybe if we got this more evidence or this other witness, they should have brought that to the Senate as a strong case.
We're talking to you tomorrow night. You're going to be back with us tomorrow night. You don't sleep. Right now, we'll take a break in a moment. We have a lot more coming up. A major new development in our exclusive from last night, that White House meeting in 2016. 24 hours ago, we brought you an explosive story, and judging by the responses we got, well, it seemed to strike a nerve. Last night, the Ingram Angle showed you State Department emails from last year that no one in TV had brought you before. These emails centered on a January 2016 meeting between Obama administration officials and Ukrainian prosecutors about how the efforts to fight corruption in Ukraine might be imperiled by Hunter Biden's ties to Burisma. Might have been a conflict there. Now remember, all those folks were checked into the White House by the person who many say is the whistleblower who sparked this entire impeachment circus. Well, we kept digging, and tonight we have a new development to share with you. One of the Ukrainians who attended that 2016 White House meeting is a man named Andrei Telizhenko, a political officer in the Ukrainian embassy. Curiously, his name also pops up in a 2017 Politico piece that detailed efforts by Ukrainian officials to undermine Trump's 2016 campaign, written by the same reporter, Ken Vogel, who after initially pursuing it, didn't write that story about that White House 2016 meeting. According to Politico, Telizhenko aided DNC operative Alexandra Chalupa in her mission to hurt Trump's campaign by trying to find connections between Trump, Manafort, and Russia. But according to Telizhenko, he didn't do this willingly. He claims he was forced into helping Chalupa and have her go after Trump. Here's what he told Politico in 2017. We had an order not to talk to the Trump team because he was critical of Ukraine and the government and his critical position on Crimea and the conflict. I was yelled at when I proposed to talk to Trump. The ambassador said not to get involved. Hillary is going to win. Well, we reached out to the State Department officials included in the May 2019 emails that we revealed last night, and we asked these questions. Do they know why Ken Vogel decided not to publish that story after all? Did he follow up with any other correspondence explaining why he didn't write the story, or perhaps with other questions? What was the State Department's focus in that January 2016 meeting with all of those Ukrainian officials? And why did the person that we think is a whistleblower, why did he arrange this meeting? As of this moment, we've received no response to our questions. We, however, are not stopping our call for more documents, the emails, the text messages, the voicemails, anything that sheds light on what certainly looks on the surface to be a concerted effort to save the Bidens from political embarrassment and then hurt President Trump along the way. Joining me now is Mollie Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist and Fox News contributor, and Victor Davis Hanson, senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. Mollie, for a conspiracy theory, there sure are a lot of facts to back up the notion of Ukrainian election meddling.
Well, it's just amazing. You have what appears to be this coordinated effort between media, Democrats, and some people in the bureaucracy to keep people from having any discussion about Ukrainian meddling, much less a thorough investigation.
It's a conspiracy.
And when you go back to that Politico article from 2017, it is amazing. People speak openly. You have Alexandra Chalupa openly bragging about how she coordinated between Ukrainian government officials and the Democratic National Committee to get negative information about Paul Manafort into the public sphere. And she succeeded. I mean, if you really care about election meddling from foreign governments, you have two examples in the Hillary Clinton campaign. She sourced the dossier to Russian officials. She secretly funded that. And you have people at the DNC funneling her, or a contractor at the DNC, funneling the DNC and the Clinton campaign information from Ukraine, getting stuff out into the media, and they really did unseat Paul Manafort as chairman of the Trump campaign. Whatever you think about
that's pretty big.
It's really impressive work that they did.
VDH, going back to these emails, the State Department officials didn't know what to do last May when they were approached by Ken Vogel about that meeting at the White House in January of 2016. Now, this is the campaign was already heated up. Trump was ahead, but you didn't know what was going to happen. But the Ukrainian officials were brought into the White House, checked in by the person many think is the whistleblower, and they had some big meeting about something, but apparently, according to Vogel and his inquiries, it was about their investigation of Burisma and a potential, wrinkle since Hunter Biden was on that board.
We got to remember that in that time, nobody thought Donald Trump was going to win, so they weren't very shy about what they were doing. And there were Ukrainian officials that were writing op-eds about how unpalatable Trump would be if he were elected. The thing about the Stern and Vogel article, Laura, is it was almost jocular. I mean, it was matter of fact. And then all these liberal fact-checking outlets like PolitiFact, they've checked it out and said basically it was true. And David Merkel from the Atlantic Council had Ukrainian ties, but they even admitted it. So there was no controversy over any of this until the Russian collusion heated up as a way of removing Trump. And then they got worried and they thought, wow, if we're going to go after Russian collusion, we have footprints all over Ukrainian collusion. And all of a sudden, anybody that took them at their prior word was considered as conspiracists. But all of it, Laura, though, begs the question is, why would they want to have witnesses called? Because Hunter Biden is the key to this. And everybody knows he had no expertise in oil or Ukraine, that Ukraine was corrupt, and that his dad was not only vice president, but point man on Ukraine. Why would you want him to get out there and testify in this tangle of lies when his father is the front runner in the Democratic primary? It doesn't make any sense.
I think the mother of his child can't even find him. Molly, look, the Senator Graham also called out the efforts by the left to claim the Biden-Burisma scandal is just a closed case.
If you're promoting ClickBank products...
Many times it was said by the managers that the Biden conflict of interest allegations has been debunked. I know a lot about the Trump family.
They should both be the first two witnesses, and I don't think they'd survive a very effective...
This is crazy.
It is a total distraction. It is a total bluff. They ain't got nothing else.
Let's go on here. Let's go on here.
Were not valid. The court understands the government to have concluded, and docket numbers 17375, 17679 were not valid. Victor, here's my question. Only 2 were not valid? This whole thing was not valid.
Yeah, it was all invalid. And what's striking is we knew that the FBI and members of the DOJ under Obama were corrupt, and they were really trying to destroy a U.S. citizen by improperly and probably illegally surveilling him. But we always thought the FISA court justices were merely deluded, or they were given false information. But they were so naive when they were told that this was all part of an opposition research project. They didn't even ask, well, who's the opposition, as if there's anybody other than Hillary Clinton. So I think that the real subtext here is the FISA court in general and the particular judges involved in particular are really culpable, and they've almost eroded all support for FISA courts. I think a lot of conservatives that thought they were an essential tool in the anti-terrorism effort now are thinking it's not worth the risk anymore because they're so politicized.
No, I don't
And they're
want
the ones that are just as culpable as the DOJ and FBI.
No.
So
had most of this week just to make their case. Is it really right or fair to have the White House counsel argue on a Saturday when few people are watching TV? It seems like they should just go 15 minutes after midnight tomorrow and then start it up on Monday in earnest. What about that?
You know, it does say session days, and that's an important distinction here, that you could have that issue. But the Senate rules that deal with impeachment, Senate Impeachment Rule 3, deals with Saturdays. It says that specifically at 1 o'clock. So whether or not you're the prosecution or the defense, you can't get around that unless there is unanimous consent. Some people think that that might be an opportunity for the defense team to maybe make the case to hit the Sunday news cycles as they get into the shows on Sunday, and that might be an advantage to them even if they finish up later on Monday or Tuesday, Laura.
Yeah, but so they might go only an hour or two on Saturday,
right,
and then adjourn and go. Is that right?
That's right. John Thune, he thought that they might finish around noontime on Saturday, and part of the reason here is because senators have other things to do. They've been cloistered, sequestered here for a couple of days. They want to get out of Washington as badly as anybody else, Laura.
All right, Chad. Thanks so much. Fantastic reporting. All right, over the...
What are the senators reading? Here's a part of it.
Rousel's book that is all about the resistance, and she has a great chapter in there about the act of obstruction. And that's what I was reading through. It is very relevant to what we're doing. You've seen other members that have books regarding different impeachments. Those are on their desk. There are other people that are working on clippings or reading. Everyone is spending their time well. And Laura, you have to bear in mind, today there was one particular clip of Fiona Hill. I think we saw it like 5 different times. So there's a lot of repetition in what they're showing and what they're saying. The point is this: the Senate is going to perform our constitutional duty. We are going to do it in the appropriate manner. We are going to be fair. We are sitting there taking notes. I've already done a full notebook full of notes, and we are going to get to a summary judgment, and I look forward to getting to that point.
Well, Senator, you can do whatever you want during the trial. I mean, the House wants to dictate the rules in the Senate. The media want to dictate what everybody understands about the trial. They won't want anyone to know the truth about the Bidens. Now they want to dictate how you spend your time during the trial. I mean, and
well,
they say
ought to
Trump's
realize,
a dictator. Come on.
They ought to realize people like you and I are chief mamas in charge, and we know how to do more than one thing at a time.
Yeah, I'll say. All right, Senator Blackburn, you also criticized Democrat impeachment witness Lieutenant Colonel Vindman on Twitter, and then his lawyer shot back late tonight saying that a member of the Senate would choose to take to Twitter to spread slander about a member of the military is a testament to cowardice. So apparently a member of the military can never be criticized. Okay. What's your response?
And we honor the service of every man and woman in uniform. But here's the thing. You should look at what his commanders, Vindman's commanders, have said. And he has a problem with judgment. That has been pointed out. He had one commander that said, he is a political activist in uniform. He has had problems with going outside of his chain of command, which is exactly what he did here. And I talk to a lot of military members on a regular basis. They have a real problem with some of the things and the manner in which he conducted himself in this matter. What we want to do is make certain that we get to the heart of the issues here. We want to be certain the president is treated fairly. We want to make certain that we move through this and that we get back to the people's business. Things that they want to see us do, like putting more judges on the federal bench.
Well, Senator, again, we have to pop the liberal left-wing radical balloons during this impeachment trial. It gives us a good opportunity to expose their tactics. They have a tactic with members of the military who favor their point of view or their outcome, removing Trump. So if you're a member of the military who likes Trump, then you can be criticized morning, noon, and night. But if you're Vindman, who clearly thinks Trump shouldn't be in office, shouldn't be there, blah blah, then you can never criticize him ever say anything.
That's right. The liberals, the left, they are great at situational ethics. They're great at things like, and people need to listen to what they're actually saying. My goodness, Adam Schiff yesterday in his opening said, look, we can't trust that Trump is not going to cheat in 2020 and that the ballot boxes are going to be fair.
He doesn't trust the people.
I mean, it was like, we're going to take away your right to decide who you're going to vote for in 2020. That's the things that I hope people are listening to see what their real objective is. It is to control, to redo 2016 and to preempt what is going to happen in 2020. This is what this is about. They hate the guy so much. Donald Trump has done nothing wrong. We are going to make certain that we move through this process, and I will tell you this. What we are hearing from Tennesseans, he is in better position than ever. He is going to be reelected President of the United States in 2020.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of references to political crucifixions today on social media. And I have to say, Senator Blackburn, we salute your service for actually being able to physically withstand sitting through this day after day.
Oh, we're going to end it there. Oh, my stars. Pathetic. But she has a very Blackburn, Senator Blackburn has a very good point. This is all about the election and making sure that he isn't reelected. Make no mistake about it. It's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. And again, Biden and his family's in the eyeballs, so up their eyeballs with dirt in Ukraine, and so is Hillary Clinton, so is, like I said, Obama, so is several congressmen's sons and several congressmen. We've mentioned those in previous videos. There's a lot going on in Ukraine that needs to be brought out. But I don't think the Senate trial is the place to do it. I think it needs to be done out where it can be more fairly done with all the emotional stuff out of the way and more legal and serious investigation. Again, we'll see what happens next week. I think, as far as we've been told by Q and other individuals, I think this trial is going to end up being finished and voted on, and I think Trump is going to be acquitted in the last week of this month in January. We will see. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. We'll see what happens. Good day.